ahead and go into 3ds Max, and we can import this in. So to import, we'll simply go to File, or the 3ds Max icon, and we'll say Import, and then it's going to go to our import folder on this, and I want to make sure that I have OBJ, and it looks like it may have, it went outside of that, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and just drag that into import, and then import, there we go, and hit open. Now the options, whenever it brings these up, we want to make sure that we're saying, all right, this is being imported from ZBrush. Now there are a couple of things that I want to turn off. Really the only thing that I want to turn off is my import materials. Everything else is set as a group. Okay, there are lots of different parts to this. It's okay. We'll deal with that here in just a little bit. Flip Z and Y, I'm going to leave everything just the way it is. Everything looks good, and so we'll say import. Now it's going to bring in all of those faces, and there's lots of vertices that are coming in here, lots of faces, but 3ds Max should be able to handle this. So we'll let that import in. Alright, so it's gone ahead and brought in our high poly character. I'm going to hit Alt W to go full screen on my perspective view. And just taking a look here, just clicking off of that, you can see that we have our model, and it's bringing in all of our pieces. Now, a couple of problems that we have here. Really quickly, you'll notice that the zipper came in, but it came in as all different objects. That's okay. But it does create some issues with that. What we would want to do is we'd probably want to go ahead and try to merge all of that together to make it one object, make it easier to manage. But what I could do is just go ahead and just make it part of the code, which it ultimately is. I'm not going to be removing that or trying to make that separate. There's no need to do that in this. So really quickly, what we'll do is with everything selected on our character, minus the hair object, I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to click on these hair pieces, and I'm going to deselect those. And there's the main strip, and then there's these ends to it, which is created from that tool. I'm going to go ahead and deselect those, and then I'm going to create a new selection set. And with this new selection set, I'm going to call this HP for high poly. With that, you should see everything inside of this, okay, that we have selected. All right, so now what I can do is I can just simply come up here, and anytime I need to select the high poly objects, I can do that with the selection set. That's going to make it a little bit easier for us a little bit later whenever we start selecting different pieces on this and working. So now that we have that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to select the hood. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to select the face, hide it. And I'm just hiding these selections just for right now. Let's hide the shirt. Whoops. So hide the shirt, and then I'm going to select the hands, oops, not the coat though, and the boots. Okay, and it looks like even the boots, the zippers on those boots are different subgroups as well. Okay, so let's make sure that we hide these. So hide selection, and then on the hair we'll hide that selection. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put that on its own group here. We'll call this LP for low poly, and we'll close that. So let's hide that selection. Okay, and so everything that's here now is just part of the code. And so I'm going to select the main part of the code here, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to attach all of these. Now, in order to attach, I like to work with editable poly, so I'm going to right click and convert it to editable poly, and then I'm just going to come in and simply attach the other pieces. It might be a good idea to go ahead and just select everything. In this lesson, we're going to begin the process of retopologizing the character's head. Alright, so we've got everything brought in, we've got everything grouped together and ready to go. As I go through the process of retopoing a character like this, I always like to set up my naming convention. So I'm going to call this HP_head. Hit enter on that, so that's all set. And then what we'll do is we'll come in, let's turn this to shaded, and let's go ahead and create a new plane. So I'm just going to drag and drop in a plane here. I'm going to do a little bit of setup. I'm going to make sure that my length and my width on this is set to 1 by 1, so I have a single polygon in which I'm working with. And I'm going to grab my move tool, and I'm going to put this right over in front of the face, right over the eye. Now if it helps, you can go to your perspective view, and you can pull that forward.